Hello, hello, and welcome to a Read With Me session that we are kicking off the month of August for our personal freedom book choice of the month. It is The Mastery of Life by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. And Isabel just read the financial freedom book choice of the month, which is by Zig Ziglar, and it's called A View from the Top. So welcome in. We're going to be reading live on Billionairette, The Mastery of Life, as well as A View from the Top, as much as we can this particular month. If you're just joining us for the first time, know that every single month since the beginning of this year in 2022, we have been reading 2 books every single month, one on financial freedom and one on personal freedom. So we're about 12 books in or so. It's been absolutely amazing. Some of the books that we've been reading is The Power of Positive Thinking, okay, The Voice of Knowledge, and The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. We just completed 2 Tony Robbins books last month. One was The Money Master the Game that Isabel read, and we also did Life Force by Tony Robbins. So it's been absolutely phenomenal. If you've been joining us, reading along with us on our YouTube, super amazing. So happy and grateful that you are there investing into your personal development, your personal growth on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis. And if you're in our inner circle, where every single week we gather in an intimate circle of entrepreneurs, coaches, people that are looking to continuing to grow, continuing to develop and achieve personal freedom and financial freedom in your life. So amazing. We love our inner circle meetings every single week. And so we would love to have you join us if you're, whether it's live on our Billionairette page on Instagram or YouTube, or even our inner circle. We love to have you a part of it. So we're going to dive right into this incredible book, The Mastery of Life. I have not read it yet. It's one of Don Miguel Ruiz Jr.'s latest book out. He is the son of Don Miguel Ruiz, which you've probably heard of his books, The Four Agreements and Mastery of Love and The Voice of Knowledge. So his books have absolutely changed my life, transformed my life. And so I'm so happy you are tuning in to read with us The Mastery of Life. So let's dive right into it. I don't want to waste any more time. You can go ahead and share this video if you feel you know somebody that is looking for personal freedom in their life. If they're looking, to just master their mind, and maybe they're going through some mental health challenges and they need a different perspective, or they need a different awareness, or whatever it might be, go ahead and share this YouTube video, go ahead and share this IG live with them. And yeah, let's dive right into it. The Mastery of Life, a Toltec Guide to Personal Freedom by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. Okay, that's what we're diving into here. So let's do it. In the beginning of this book, he goes into sharing with us specific definitions, okay, that he wants us to understand, different terms of words that he's using in this book. And let me just give you a summary of this particular book in specifically. I'm going to read the back of the book. Okay, so the greatest journey you can take is the one within yourself. Okay, outside Mexico City lies the ancient pyramid complex of Teotihuacan, which, according to the oral tradition of the Ruiz family, is a spiritual center for the Toltec people. For over 20 years, Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. has been traveling to Teotihuacan to teach others about the powerful mysteries found there. In The Mastery of Life, Ruiz explains how the sacred pyramids and plazas of Teotihuacan act as a symbolic stops on the transformative path of Toltec warriors. Those who apply the teaching of the Toltecs in their own lives to win the inner war against the forces of domestication, fear, fear, and self-judgment. At the same time, he guides you on your own inner journey, helping you to experience firsthand the transformative power of the Toltec teachings without ever leaving the comfort of your own home. The practical exercises and reflection he shares are designed to help you find peace and personal freedom in your own life right now. Your journey awaits. Some of the key terms I'm going to actually share with you, but if you have the physical book, you can always come back to these terms to understand what he's talking about. Okay. Agreements, the process by which the ideas in our minds become beliefs and consequently influence our actions. Awareness, the practice of paying attention in the present moment to what is happening inside your body and your mind, as well as in your immediate surroundings. Domestication, the primary system of control in your dream of the planet. Starting when we are very young, we are presented with either a reward or a punishment for adopting the beliefs and behaviors others find acceptable. When we do this as a result of either reward or punishment, we become domesticated. Dream of the planet, the combination of the personal dreams of every being in the world or the world that we live in. Mitote, the negative voices in our minds that speak to us throughout the day. Okay, do you ever have negative voices in your minds that are speaking to you and you kind of have to either like allow them to just pass by? Okay, that's what they call the mitote. So something that, we've learned is that those are not you necessarily. So you can allow them to just pass through and change those voices in your head. And as we continue to learn and become aware of them, then we can change them. And the more that we do that, the greater our mitote is gonna just simmer down. Now, wow, the divine inside of you, the force that gives life to your mind and your body. It's similar to the concept of the spirit or the soul found in many religious traditions, but it's not exactly the same. Personal dream, the unique reality created by every individual, your personal perspective. It is the manifestation of the relationship between your mind and your body. Toltec people, an ancient group of Native Americans who came together in the South and Central Mexico to study perception. The word Toltec means artist. The word Toltec means artist. Toltec warrior, and this is the last of the definitions, one who is committed to using the teachings of the Toltec tradition to win the inner battle against domestication and attachment. Are you a Toltec warrior? Do you want to become a Toltec warrior? Are you committed to using the teachings that we're going to go through in the Toltec tradition to win the inner battle against domestication and attachment? Let me know in the comments if you are. Introduction, the Toltec path. Words are powerful tools. Words are powerful tools. In the Toltec tradition to which I belong, we say that words are the brushes we use to paint the masterpiece of our lives. Words can shift perspectives, create clarity, and reveal opportunities. Conversely, they can also be used to spread anger, fear, or hate. Thus, the words we choose can either lift us up or tear us down. Words are also the primary tools we use to communicate with one another and build almost everything in our existence. Seen in this light, it's no wonder that the opening line of the Christian Gospel of John is, quote, "In the beginning was the Word." In the beginning was the Word. Our words occur first as thoughts in our minds, then as symbols with meanings that allow us to communicate and think in intellectual ways. Constructing arguments, building complex stories, and of course, making agreements. The human mind is brilliant at making agreements. In the Toltec tradition, agreements are the result of the process by which the ideas in our minds become beliefs and consequently influence our actions. These agreements can follow us throughout our entire lives, coloring our perceptions in every aspect of our day-to-day living. Our agreements concerning everything from major decisions like whom we marry, as seemingly trivial choices like what to wear, can work to inform can work to inform, influence, and sometimes even control us, often without any conscious awareness on our part. Most of our agreements run deep. They are created and cemented into reality by our wordy thinking minds. We forget that thoughts and ideas, which are the building blocks of our agreements, and thus our beliefs, don't actually exist out there in the world. They only exist inside of us, and they only have the power because we believe they are true. The more attached we are to a particular agreement, the more power it has over us. I want you to write down, the more attached I am to a particular agreement, the more power it has over me. The more attached I am to an agreement, to a belief, the more power it has over me. So what agreements? It's like something that we have to take inventory of. Because in detachment, we are free. If we're not attached to any specific belief and we're aware of that, it will not have power over us. Agreements themselves are neither inherently positive or negative, and we rely on many of them to navigate our way through the world successfully. The agreements we've entered into as children in response to our parents' instructions on safety and good health are useful. Vegetables are nutritious and healthy. Look both ways before you cross the street. Some agreements may not be constructive or positive. However, my contributions at work aren't worth much. I'm just not a creative person. And some may even be self-destructive. For example, I am not worthy of being loved. Many of our agreements are the result of intellectual seeds planted inside us by others in our formative years. Learning how to recognize these agreements, discerning whether they are helpful or unhelpful, and then changing or dismissing them if necessary, make up one of the major endeavors of those on a journey to personal freedom. So while words can be very powerful, in the Toltec tradition, we also recognize that words are extremely limited. They are only descriptors and indicators of reality, not reality itself. As philosopher Alan Watts notes in regards to words, quote, "The menu is not the meal." Words can only point to the truth. They are not the truth in and of themselves. Books are amazing tools, which after all are made up of words. The right book at the right time has the power to transform lives by offering hope in times of despair or provoking wonder in times of creative drought. But for all that books are incredible pockets of potential, it is ultimately not the book itself that changes us. We change ourselves. We change ourselves. This presents us with an interesting challenge here. To explain the teachings and tools I will share with you here, I need to use words. But I invite you to allow these words to go beyond your mind and into your heart. It's only then, in what I call the synchronicity of heart and mind, the transformation can occur. Beyond mind. The ancient Greeks had a word for this. They called it metanoia, metanoia, literally, beyond mind. So that's what that means. Metanoia can be understood as a transformation of the individual that occurs simultaneously in both the mind and the heart. This is the spirit in which I would like the words of this book to be taken. I hope that they prompt you to turn inward, to move beyond logic and reason into a place of luminous openness and fresh awareness. There is a sense of movement here, of turning around, of going beyond, of opening up. And that is because ultimately, whether we realize it or not, we are all on one long, magnificent journey, the journey to personal freedom and the liberation of our true selves. We are all on one long, magnificent journey, the journey to personal freedom and the liberation of our true selves. The goal of this journey is a fundamental change in our perception of the world and our place in it. Perception is, in fact, what the ancient Toltecs came together to study and understand over 2,000 years ago. According to the oral tradition of my family, the ancients knew that the greatest freedom lies in the art of seeing reality as it truly is, beyond our agreements and stories. What they found is that no real change is possible without clear perception. Clear perception. And what is the greatest obstacle to clear perception? Can anybody take a guess? Put it in the comments. What is the greatest obstacle to clear perception? It's one word. The greatest obstacle: fear. Fear is at the heart of every obstacle we encounter on our way to personal freedom. It's important to note, however, that when I use the word fear in this context, I am referring to psychological fear rather than physical fear. Physical fear can be natural and helpful. For instance, if you suddenly encounter a bear while hiking in the woods, fear in this case produces adrenaline, which elevates your heart rate and increases your oxygen intake. It prepares your body to either stand and fight or run for your life. Contrast this with psychological fear, the fear that others won't like you, that you won't get what you want, or that you're not good enough. These types of fear are all based on the agreements you have made throughout your life. Sadly, the psychological fear often produces the same physical reactions in our bodies that physical fear does, sending us into the same heart-pounding, gut-wrenching response. This puts our bodies through an inordinate amount of unnecessary physical stress that over the course of a lifetime can have harmful consequences. Why do I say that fear is the greatest obstacle to clear perception when there are so many other negative emotions to consider? Because in most cases, fear sits at the center of all of these other emotions. The vast majority of the time, anger, hate, jealousy, regret, and virtually all other negative reactions can ultimately be tracked back to fear. Fear paralyzes us into thinking that we will repeat the mistakes of the past and overwhelms us with anxieties about the future. Fear keeps us trapped in the false belief that we are only acceptable when we live up to an unending list of expectations. We must be smart enough, pretty enough, spiritual enough, financially stable enough, accomplished enough, etc. When we work with and learn how to recognize and deal with our fears, we often find that the other negative emotions we struggle with diminish or even evaporate at the same time. Much of the journey we will share in these pages will tackle the issue of fear, since overcoming its psychological manifestations is such a huge and important step on the road to clear perception and personal freedom. The journey. In the Toltec tradition, the journey to clear perception can include an actual physical journey that takes its inspiration from the spiritual center of my Toltec ancestors, the ancient pyramid complex found at the city of Teotihuacan, sometimes shortened to Teo in these pages. All right, so we're going to shorten up the word Teotihuacan, which is the pyramids that he's referring to Teo. This ancient complex is located about 25 miles outside modern-day Mexico City. And for those of you that don't know, we're currently in Mérida, Mexico. Mexico City is probably about a 2-hour flight from where we currently are. And then Isabel and I looked it up. The Teotihuacan pyramids are an hour drive from Mexico City, okay, to these particular pyramids that he's referring to. The buildings, temples, roadways, and pyramids of Teo provide the map we will follow to do the work described in this book. Each of the locations within the pyramid complex has special meaning and significance that can be seen as symbolic of a stage on the path to personal freedom. I have traveled through the complex myself many times over the course of 30 years, initially as a student of my father and grandmother, and later as a teacher. The majesty of the city's architectural achievements alone is a testament to the wisdom of the ancient people who built it. But while I encourage you to visit this remarkable place if you are ever able to do so, I also want to be clear that you do not need to travel to Teotihuacan to benefit from the work described here. That's because the most important journey you can ever make is the one within yourself. All the examination, preparation, and work you need to do is inside you. All the wisdom you need to live a life of personal mastery lies inside your heart and your mind right now. The teachings of Teo and those I present in this book act merely to help you uncover and open the power you already possess. In the Toltec tradition, we teach that while all the wisdom and answers you need are within you, sometimes we all need a guide to help us find them. And that is the goal of this book. In it, I give a variety of exercises and rituals designed to help you perform this inner work. Ritual and ceremony hold an important place in the Toltec tradition, but not because we have any particular attachment to religious practices or because we are led by superstitions. In fact, we reject both of these. Instead, we perform rituals and ceremonies because they have the power to reach parts of your being beyond the mind. Rituals rely on sensory experience and our relationship to time and space. In them, we start in one place and end in another, and we find that we have been changed. Rituals open up space in our bodies, minds, and hearts. I encourage you to throw yourself wholeheartedly into the exercises, rituals, and ceremonies at the end of the chapters of this book. Our minds often dismiss the power of rituals and ceremonies precisely because their efficacy transcends our intellectual capacity. That's okay. Think of the mind in this instance as being like grumpy teenagers who don't want you to dance at the party because you might embarrass them. They'll live, do it anyway. Sometimes the best way to overcome the mind is simply to ignore it. Sometimes the best way to overcome the mind is to simply ignore it. Mastery. It is important to say something here about the title of this book. Let me be clear about what I mean by mastery. In the modern world, to master something can sometimes mean to exert ultimate will or control over it. For instance, to give orders to someone, or to be in a position of power, or to win, or to dominate people, places, or situations. You won't find any of that in this book. You won't find it. Mastery, in the context of this book, refers to that which we practice regularly. In these pages, I ask you to take a deep look at what you believe about yourself and the world around you, and to notice what you habitually do, how you act and react based on what you believe. Then, once you have become more aware of what you think, how you act, and where those thoughts and actions originate, I invite you to practice new ways of thinking, acting, and being that are more aligned with your true nature and your highest good. I encourage you to practice a life uncontrolled by fear. The title of this book is not meant to imply that it will somehow empower you to control life or force your will onto other people, places, or things. In fact, when you become a true master, you release the need for any of this. You release the need. Instead, you strive to align your individual will with that of life itself, doing your best in all situations, letting go of categories and separations, and surrendering to the outcome. You come to understand that life knows better than you do. This understanding brings you a peace that goes deeper and lasts longer than any short-term gain you might enjoy by exerting control or power. Another way to say all of this is when you master life, you see God everywhere you look. Of course, this is easy to do when viewing a beautiful sunset over a mountain, but much more difficult when faced with the carnage of war. Yet, regardless of how you feel about the sunset or the carnage, life moves through both in equal measure. Because of this, the journey in this book is about learning how to surrender to life rather than having some type of egoic domination over it. The beautiful paradox is that it's through the spirit of surrender that we actually do gain a measure of control over ourselves, over our actions and reactions, and over the choices that we make. And this can lead us to a new place of peace, happiness, and personal freedom. This is the gift of my Toltec ancestors offered to the world centuries ago, and it is my privilege to offer it to you now. So let us take a deep breath together and prepare to step on the path. We are standing at the beginning of an amazing, amazing journey. Wow, what an amazing introduction. I'm so excited to dive into this book. Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., we appreciate you for writing this book. We love you and so excited to continue to dive into here. I know this will be the guide to so many individuals all over the world and already has been to guide them to achieve personal freedom, peace in their life. So, in the next Read With Me session, we're going to dive into chapter 1, which is called The Art of Life. Imagine the moment of your birth. Okay. If you're excited for this book, if you're going to follow along and read with us, you can join us on YouTube again, or you can join us here live on Instagram with Billionairettes Instagram. We're going to try to go live as much as possible. But I appreciate you, love you, and hope you have an incredible, incredible, incredible day. Get this book if you haven't purchased it yet. Just feeling it, so cute, so little, you can take it everywhere. It feels so nice. It has like a matte finish. So definitely encourage, because this is a book that's like something that you study, that you have to read with you over and over again. Or maybe if you, as you're practicing to become this master, you're practicing every single day, going back to it, reminding ourselves of the truth. And it just brings so much peace. So I'm excited for you. Appreciate you. Love you. And we'll see you in the next episode, the next Read With Me session on The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. All right. Take care and have a beautiful, beautiful rest of the day. All right.